having a wonderful place to stay. At Christmas time, a friend of mine gave me his apartment in New York City while he was in San Francisco. I had a two-bedroom apartment with a fireplace on 22nd and 2nd, which is a great neighborhood. My son was living in New York at the time, so I was able to spend Christmas with my son. And that's the month that I wrote Change Your Mind, Change Your Body with my sister. So every morning I would get up, I'd go to my sister's house, I'd sit down, I brought my computer with me. And that's not a laptop. That was my big computer. I know. It was, what year was it? It was 1990? Yeah. So we didn't have laptops.
It's amazing you were even working on a computer.
No, I got my first computer in 85. And so I've been working on a computer since 85, but I had to drag this big thing in a special case to New York. And thank God it was before you had to pay for your bags, because I had about 8 with me. I spent the month in New York at a friend's house writing this book. The book came out a year later. I can't remember the date exactly. It was in the spring of 92, somewhere in there. 90, yeah, I don't remember. 92, 91, 92. Can't remember. Somewhere in there. And so I had all these opportunities, and then I started to think about the body-mind connection. Now, I started working in body-mind work in the 80s. And, of course, people thought that I was very strange. Because when I sold my fitness school, I didn't want to teach exercise. I discovered the mind. And to me, that's a very big sandbox to be playing in. And so I started thinking about the mind and the body and how the two are connected. And I just created programs. And then I would teach them. And eventually, I worked my way back to being able to get my own place. And my sister moved out from New York. We got a place here together. We also had some miracles. We got some inheritances. I mean, the miracles, Gail, if you believe in miracles, miracles happen. Period. And
that's true. And I think that ties back to your spirituality. And a lot of people poo-poo spirituality, but I'm finding that in corporate America, there are more and more leaders who are becoming more spiritual in their practices, in their philosophies. And this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with spirituality. And a lot of people are just becoming more tuned in. And I think that's a key factor. And I guess I'd ask you, and I almost think you're going to tell me it's your mom, but other than your mom, who was your greatest role model in business?
I actually thought you were going to ask me that question, so I thought about it since I've met you. And it's Queen Elizabeth I.
Wow, that's unique. Okay, why?
Well, when you think of Queen Elizabeth I, she was 17 when she took over the realm. Her country, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Her country at the time was completely bankrupt. It was in a religious war because her sister, because of the religious factions in England at the time, her sister was Catholic because her sister's mother was Catholic, and Elizabeth was Church of England. Now, when Henry died and Mary, then the brother took over for a little while, but then he died, and then when Mary took over, she started persecuting all of the Church of England people, and she burned them as witches. So the country was bankrupt, the country itself was at war, they had no fleet. They were vulnerable to France and Spain, to everybody. So now Elizabeth comes along and she has to fix it. And Elizabeth is living in a man's world. And so what Elizabeth did was she knew that if she married, she would no longer be the ruler. She also knew that the people around her were always plotting against her. And so she became extremely political in that she allowed all the various factions around her to believe they were making the decisions while she was the one making the decisions.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Because a lot of people talk about reading biographies of important people and past people, and looking at what they did and how they lived their lives hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and
Oh,
hundreds
yeah.
years ago. And it's amazing what you can learn from these people. So I guess using using her as a person to start off with, what advice would you give other women who are in business or want to be in business? What are some of the things you would tell them to look out for or pay attention to?
Well, the words that you just used, pay attention, would be what I would say. Pay attention. Because you do not know when something's going to trip you up. Just don't. Now, if you get tripped, then you have to stand up, look around, and see how you can maneuver. But I watch. I pay attention. There are a lot of organizations that I belong to where I used to stick my head up over the top and I'd get shot, so to speak. So now I watch, and I don't do that anymore. I'm very bold, and I believe in boldness. I'm not obnoxious. So, and I don't, it's like, and watch, I would say watch your words. Pay attention to the way you speak. Pay attention to the way you think. If you believe that you're going to be a victim, you will be one. Now, I had been a victim, and I've learned how not to be. So there are opportunities that come up that you have to learn, pay attention so you learn. It's always a learning. And there are going to be times, and this is important, there are going to be times that are easy, and there are going to be times that are difficult. So when you're in a challenging time, it's not about, oh, this is awful, I'll never survive. It's, okay, what should I learn here? What's the lesson here? What's the message here? So that you can move forward instead of being stuck. And as a woman today, we have so much more opportunity. And as far as the glass ceiling is concerned, yes, in corporate America, there may be a glass ceiling. So if you come up against a glass ceiling, go open your own business.
Well,
That's why
that's so true. That's
there's so
so
many
true.
there's so many women entrepreneurs today because they're tired of having to fight in a corporate world. Why bother? Just go open your own company.
Well, it's interesting because certainly there are more women today starting businesses than ever before. However, they've also found that these businesses don't necessarily get to the gross revenue that most of the male-oriented businesses do. So
So
women
what?
have to get a lot more. Well, it's true, except that again, if they want to be considered or counted on as having importance and being a mover and shaker, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are going to have to, get to that point where they're having that major impact on the world. And again, a lot of them are not really we don't even know about them. Somebody came on doing a commercial the other day, and I was surprised. I had no idea she was head of this big supermarket, and that she was a president. I mean, and I'd never seen her in the paper or gotten any press or anything like that. So I think the visibility factor is important. But I want to get you some visibility, Suzy. So let's tell people where to go. What is your website, and what will they find there?
My website is www. Thank you, by the way. My website is www.suzy, Suzy, Prudden, PRUDDEN.com. That's it. And we are working on it now. It doesn't say too much. It's very impressive. I show other people who think that I'm the cat's pajamas on it, like Oprah and Deepak and Louise and Dean Ornish. And there's a lot of people that I've worked with over the years. I'm so excited about this. People say, why do you tell your age? I said, please, give me a break. The way I look and who I am, when I say that I'm going to be 71 next month, they say, you don't look it. And I say, I know that, but nobody has to, what does it look like? It looks like who you are, period. And
That is so
so,
true.
yeah, it looks like who you are. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, don't tell your age. I said, why not? Because people will think, I said, I don't really care what people think.
Well, I'm going to have to cut you off there, Suzy, because we're running out of time. But do go to Suzy, that's Suzy, Prudden, PRUDDEN.com. And Suzy, I've got you beaten by a few years, so I
Not
tell
much.
everybody how
I mean,
old I
I'm
am
running
too.
after you. But I wanted to offer, Gail, I wanted to offer your listeners an opportunity. I would love to talk to anybody who wants to about moving forward in their lives and give them a free half-hour consultation with me if they call my number 310-640-8885. That's 310-640-8885. And I love the opportunity I've had to speak with you today, and I enjoyed meeting you last weekend and spending time with you here in California.
Thank you, Suzy, and thank everybody for listening to Women in Business, the show that brings you women entrepreneurs and senior managers. I hope you enjoyed our show. Please connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. Download my ebook, Life Lessons from an SOB, on my website, spunkyoldbroad.com, and you can find information on my speeches, coaching, and resources there. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.